Hello students, how are you all? Hearty welcome to you to the Classroom TV. In day-to-day life, we come across such terms like, I hope that you are all charged up, full of energy and using your powers. Now if you look at the terms here, these terms, charge, energy, power, all these terms we use in our day-to-day life also, and their meanings will vary in context, but the same terms have some specific meaning in physics. These are physical quantities, these are called as physical quantities, and they have specific technical definition. More such terms are there which are used in physics and also day-to-day life and vice versa. So the topic which we want to start today is also made up of such terms. You are aware of such terms: reflection, mirror, images. We use them in our daily lives also, and as you have studied in previous classes, they have some specific meaning. They are physical quantities in physics. For example, now reflection, as you have studied before, is what? Bouncing back of light rays into same medium when it strikes opaque surface. So suppose light ray is traveling in one particular direction, this is light ray, and it strikes a surface, then it bounces back. So traveling and bouncing back is not just limited to one case. It travels, this is incident ray, and it bounces back into the same medium. This bouncing back of the light rays when they strike an opaque medium is called as reflection. And such opaque medium, the opaque medium or the opaque objects, these opaque objects which do reflection, they can act like mirrors. So the surface where reflection takes place, if that reflection is very high, then those surfaces are called as mirrors. We have studied in previous classes. And what is the result of reflection taking place at the mirrors? If the light rays are getting reflected at the mirrors, or if the light rays are focused on the mirrors, then these mirrors will reflect almost all the light rays, and as a result of the reflection at the mirrors, what you get is images. Images are formed, and you can see those images. Example is plane mirror. Daily you use plane mirrors. When you see yourself in a plane mirror, if you see yourself, then you will see your own image. As you know, this is a plane mirror. Object is here and its image is formed here. So this is about the terms which we use in our daily lives and we apply in physics also. And therefore, we should know the technical definitions when we are studying physics. Which brings us to the first topic of class 10, which is reflection of light at curved surfaces or spherical mirrors. Reflection of light at curved surfaces or spherical mirrors. Now, what we will do, this topic, the reflection of light at spherical mirrors or curved surfaces, as you can see, it consists of two terms. One is reflection of light, and other is spherical mirrors or curved surfaces. In previous classes, you have studied reflection of light by plane mirrors, as we were discussing before, by plane mirrors. And we have studied all the various attributes. What we are going to do in this chapter is that first we will briefly revisit the reflection of light, in a sense that we will have to apply them to the spherical mirrors. So our revision will be specifically keeping in mind that we are going to study spherical mirrors or reflection at curved surfaces. So we will briefly revisit that. Then what we will do, separately we will study the specific characteristics of spherical mirrors. They will be obviously different from plane mirrors. And then what we will do is that we will apply reflection of light and the characteristics of the spherical mirrors together and see how the image formation takes place. Now, just briefly we want to revise about reflection of light. We know that considering light, how the matter reacts to light, how the matter reacts to the light rays, the matter can be classified into transparent, then translucent and opaque. Three different types of media will be there with respect to light rays. Those which transmit light are transparent, as you can see this. Those partially transmit light, translucent, and those which absorb the light or reflect the light, they are opaque. And this is where the reflection takes place. Obviously the reflection will not take, the glass is example of transparent surface, reflection will not take place at glass. Why we are going through this is that generally whenever we look at the mirror, for plane mirror for example, simple, which we use daily, all we see is a glass, and therefore in the mind of many students is that glass itself is a mirror. But as you can see that at mirror, what is taking place? At mirror, the only thing taking place is reflection. Mirror, what is taking place? Reflection of light at mirrors. And when we look at the mirrors, we see that it is glass. But here we are seeing that glass is a transparent, it transmits light, it does not reflect light. So that means that concept is wrong. Here reflection takes place only at opaque surfaces. Then why don't we see this opaque surface when we are looking in the mirror? Then what exactly the mirror is made up of? That we will understand, and that we are going to apply to the spherical mirrors. So one thing is for sure, that reflection will not take place at transparent surfaces, it will not take place at translucent surfaces. Reflection of light will take place only at opaque surfaces. Now here different opaque surfaces have different capabilities or different percentage of reflection. How much light is striking them and how much light is bouncing back off them, that will determine the amount of reflection which is taking place. If the opaque surfaces are highly reflective, then they are called as mirrors. Those opaque surfaces which are highly reflective, which reflect more than 90% of the light falling on them. Those surfaces which reflect more than 90% of the light falling on them, they are considered as mirrors. Mirrors means reflecting surface, and mirrors doesn't mean glass at all. So how can we get the surfaces which are highly reflective? Metals have this inherent characteristics. In general, metals have this inherent characteristics of reflecting the light. We can further improve the reflection, the rate of reflection, by polishing the metal surface. So in general we can define mirror to be as, so what will be the definition of mirror then? We have seen that metals are reflective, and polishing metals further increases their ability to reflect the light. So that brings us to the technical definition of mirrors. So highly polished metallic surfaces are called as mirrors because they reflect almost all the light which is falling on them. So here again look at this figure. In this we have two parts are there, and this is another. So here this is a metallic, thin reflective metallic surface, and it is covered by glass. So why it would be covered by glass? Any mirror means metallic surface, why should it be covered by glass? So as discussed before, glasses are transparent. So what will happen? Here all the light rays which are striking the mirror, which are directed towards the mirror, the glass will allow them to pass through. The glass is allowing them to pass through. And what is happening? It is transparent. Glass is transparent. Therefore, it is allowing, and it's striking now the reflecting surface. Now, the reflecting surface will reflect the light rays back, and the glass will again allow the reflected rays, light rays, to pass through and bounce back into the same medium. So, glass doesn't block the incident light rays and reflected light rays, but what it does is that it protects the reflective surfaces from wear and tear. So, it maintains the smoothness of the reflective surface. The polished reflective surface which we have used, it maintains its smoothness. So, therefore, what we see is that glass, but behind that glass there is a highly reflective metallic strip might be there, or silver coating might be there. A strip on which silver coating is deposited, silver being highly reflective, it is preferred as in a commercial use of mirrors or scientific use of mirrors, and glass is used as a transparent protective layer. It allows the light to strike the mirror, and it also allows the light which is bouncing off the mirror to fall in. Now, this is the mirror, and this is the scientific symbol of the mirror. Remember, now this is a plane mirror. This is a scientific symbol of plane mirror. So, plane mirror is two dimensional actually. So, plane mirror, any plane mirror will be like this. This is a plane mirror. Now, while drawing, we consider this plane mirror only as a line, so that it is easy for us to have a pictorial representation. So, remember, whenever you see such a diagram, actually it is a plane mirror. So, in real life it will be something like this. And one more thing, plane means two dimensional structures. Plane means two dimensional structure. So, it need not be square, rectangle, it can also be triangle. Since triangle is also a plane figure, so plane mirrors means a metallic strip, silver coating is deposited here, and glass covering is there. It will also act like a plane mirror. Any shape which is two dimensional will be called as plane mirror. So, you will find different shapes of plane mirrors, sometimes circular plane mirror, sometimes square plane mirror, sometimes rectangular plane mirror, and its representation is like this. Although you see a line here, and again you concentrate here, this is the reflective surface, and where these lines are drawn is the opaque surface. That means light will be incident on this side only, the other side is opaque side. So, this is a symbol of plane mirror. Now, why we are studying this? Because we are going to apply it to the curved surfaces also. That means one side will be reflective and the other side will be non-reflective. Even for the curved mirrors, when you are drawing the schematic, you should take into consideration this. So, opaque side will be represented like this always, whether you are drawing it for plane mirror or you are drawing it for curved mirror or any type of mirror. Remember that. And again, why it is necessary is that there has to be some sign convention. While studying, it is much better that we observe one particular sign convention. We always keep the object to the left hand side of the mirror. In real life, object can be to the right side, left side, up, below, anywhere. But while studying, while doing the calculations, what we do, we follow one particular sign convention. Left hand side, the object is placed on the left hand side and the rays will be traveling. So, this side only can be considered as where the reflection is taking place, and other side reflection is not taking place. So, therefore, we draw these lines to indicate that. That will be applicable to curved mirrors also. This you have studied in previous classes, but as I said before, we are revisiting them, keeping in mind that we want to apply the same things to curved mirrors, and how they can be applied, means whether any changes have to be made or directly they can be applied to the curved mirrors. That is our emphasis, that we are keeping in mind. We are not just revising them. We are not going to study plane mirrors here, we are going to study curved mirrors, but the important concepts, the technical things which we are going to apply to curved mirrors, we are revising them. And whenever reflection takes place, at that time there is an object is there and ray will come out of that object and strike the mirror. So that ray is called as incident ray. Then where the ray strikes the mirror, that is called as point of incidence. Any mirror is there, plane mirror we will consider. The ray which is coming from the object, that is called as incident ray. This is called as point of incidence, and here perpendicular is drawn, that is normal, and bouncing back. So these are the important terms, normal and reflected rays. One by one we will see them. So normal is a perpendicular drawn to the reflecting surface. Now again, now we will not use the term plane mirror. Normal is a perpendicular drawn to the reflecting surface. That can be curved mirror also at the point of incidence. So important thing is that on a mirror you can draw number of perpendiculars. Again we will, so here you can draw number of perpendiculars, but that perpendicular, these are all perpendiculars. That perpendicular where the incident which drawn at the point of incidence will be called as normal. So two things are important to remember about normal. They are perpendicular to the reflecting surface. They are perpendicular to the reflecting surface and they are drawn at the point of incidence. Remember these two things. This we are going to carry forward to curved mirrors, drawn at the point of incidence and perpendicular to the reflecting surface. Quick. So this is how, this is the point of incidence, and here we have drawn making 90 degrees. This is normal. And the ray, this is incident ray. This is point of incidence, and the ray which bounces back is a reflected ray. These are the basic terminology regarding the reflection: incident ray, point of incidence, normal and reflected ray. So what will be the incident ray? In order to remember, ray coming from the object and striking the mirror, that is incident ray. Now this same incident ray bounces back. Like a ball thrown on the wall, the ball bounces back. That is not a new ball. Same ball is bouncing back. So there is no difference between incident ray and reflected ray per se. Same incident ray bounces back. The reflected ray has suddenly not come into existence. Some new ray is not emerged out of the mirror. Same incident ray bounces. This is the incident ray and it bounces back. So that means it's not that from here some new ray has emerged out. Same ray is bouncing back. That is reflected ray. One more thing, what is the significance of normal is that all the angles in reflection are measured with respect to normal only. Many times students make a mistake of considering this angle. The angle which incident ray and reflected ray make with the reflecting surface. This is wrong. You draw the incident ray, so the question which you should be asking is that why we are drawing normal? Already incident ray is there, reflecting surface is there, incident ray is there, reflecting surface is there, reflected ray is there. Then where is the need to draw normal? Why unnecessarily keep on increasing the things which we have to do? Why unnecessarily increase the complication? That's not the case. Actually drawing the normal simplifies the thing. In physics, that is the basic thing. We want to simplify the thing. We don't want to complicate the things. We want to make the understanding easy. And for that, whatever is required, we are doing that. So whenever you are studying physics, don't look at that unnecessarily complication, unnecessarily it is difficult to understand. Actually, if you look at it, physics makes things easier, then your outlook will change completely. So why do we draw normal? to make the angle of incidence and measure angle of reflection. So what is the angle of incidence? The angle which incident ray makes with normal. And what is the angle of reflection? The angle which reflected ray makes with normal. So here I and R. So what is angle I? What is the angle I then? Angle which the incident ray making with normal. And what is angle R? Angle which reflected ray makes with normal. Now and these are not the angles of incidence and angles of reflection. Remember, normal and incident ray and reflected ray are on the opposite sides of the normal. Now we want to find out, is there any correlationship? This is how reflection takes place for plane mirror at least, and now we want to see how it will take place in curved surfaces. Now for any angle, incident ray, this is one incident ray, but in practice the incident ray might strike the surface in any angle, at whatever angle. This is one incident ray, this is another incident ray making some other angle. So all the incident rays striking the plane mirror might make different angles with the normal. So how the angle of reflection is related then? Let us check out. And in this way, can we formulate some law? So we find that light is reflected back. When the light strikes the mirror, the light is reflected back such that the incident ray and reflected ray make a perfect symmetry with respect to normal. Normal can be considered to be the axis of symmetry. Light reflects symmetrically. Remember, light reflects symmetrically. Then there again there is another significance of normal. This symmetry is about the normal. This symmetry is about the normal. Always the light will reflect off symmetrically about the normal. This means that the angle which incident ray makes with normal and angle which reflected ray makes with normal, these two angles have to be equal because light follows that symmetry. So this implies that angle I equal to angle R always. Always. There is no exception at all. Angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. There is no exception at all. Remember, wherever reflection is taking place, at that time angle of incidence will be always equal to angle of reflection, and this gives us first law of reflection, which is universally applicable whether it is plane mirror or whether it is curved mirror or whether it is any other type of mirror. Angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection because of this symmetry. So whatever might be the angle of incidence now, remember, whatever might be the angle of incidence, we will take different cases. Here, this is angle of incidence here. This is angle of incidence. As you can see, I1 and finally here, this is the incident ray. So here, what will happen? The reflected ray, angle R1 equal to I1. Here the ray will get reflected back in such a way that R2, angle R2 is equal to I2. And what about here? What can you say about angle of incidence here? Look at this figure and remember that angle of incidence is always measured with respect to normal. It is not measured with respect to surface. Many times students make this mistake. They consider the angle of incidence to be 90, thinking that this is the angle between incident ray and surface. That is wrong. Here we have to draw normal at the point of incidence first thing. Whenever you get an incident ray, draw a normal at the point of incidence. Here this is the point of incidence here. At that point of incidence, draw a line perpendicular. So you will get same, and you will find that this means that this light ray is travelling along the normal. This light ray is travelling along the normal, or it is also called as normally incident. So, since it is travelling along the normal, the angle which the incident ray will make with the normal will be 0. So, here I3 equal to 0. Therefore, following the symmetry, following the first law of reflection, angle R3 also has to be 0. So, when angle of incidence is 0, that means the incident ray is travelling along the normal, and if angle of reflection is 0, that means reflected ray also travels along the normal, but exactly in opposite direction. So, this is how reflection will take place. This is how the symmetry is maintained, and we get first law of reflection. So, what is first law of reflection? Angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. Angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. This is the first law. And we know what are the angles. Now, one more thing which you can find out is that we draw mirror as a line. We draw a mirror as a line, either vertical line or horizontal line. But actually it is like this. When vertical line is drawn, the mirror is actually like this, plane, and horizontal line is drawn, it is like this, and reflection is taking place in this way. So, as you can see, this mirror, which is called as plane of reflection, the plane in which mirror lies. Now, this is horizontal plane in which mirror is lying, so that is called as plane of reflection. And you can see this is incident ray and reflected ray, they are in vertical plane. So, the reflection is taking place in vertical plane. We draw a normal here. So, reflecting surface is horizontal. Suppose mirror is horizontal, that means reflecting plane is horizontal, then the reflection is taking place vertically in vertical plane. And you know that angle between perfectly horizontal and perfectly vertical is 90 degree. So, we can say that the incident ray, this is incident ray, this is normal, and the reflected ray, they all lie in one plane, and that plane is called as plane of incidence. Incident ray, normal, a plane containing incident ray, normal and reflected ray is called as plane of incidence, and plane containing the mirror is called as plane of reflection or reflecting plane. So, these all three will lie in straight. Again you can see, suppose this is how the incident ray is travelling. Suppose you throw a ball like this, the ball will travel like this, and this is the wall which is reflecting or mirror which is reflecting. Which plane this mirror is? Vertical plane. And you have thrown the ball, so that is horizontal plane. So, incident ray, reflected ray, they all lie in one plane which is perpendicular to the reflecting plane. That gives you the second law of reflection. Now, remember, you have all studied this in previous classes. This is both the laws together, angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection, and incident ray, reflected ray and normal, they all lie in one plane. This is called as plane of incidence. This is called as reflecting plane. Now, we will apply, after applying the laws of reflection to the plane mirror, what do we get? The image formed by the plane mirror, the characteristics of the image formed. We find that there is a lateral inversion is there. Lateral inversion. What do you mean by lateral inversion? Left side becomes right side. When you look at this image here, this right hand of the person in the image, it is becoming left hand. This is called as lateral inversion. So, what do plane mirror do? If you look inside the plane mirror and you raise your right hand, you will find that image has raised its left hand. Although image is doing exactly what the object is doing. So, if you have raised your right hand, still it appears that the image has raised its left hand. This is called as lateral inversion, and it has a practical implication also. So, on the ambulances, the front of the ambulance is written in such a way that when it is seen in a mirror, it will not get laterally inverted. Otherwise, those people who are driving ahead of the ambulance, they will not see it properly. Ambulance written will appear something distorted. And other characteristics are that the height of the image, height of the object and image height, they are same, true size. That is called as image is having true size. Whatever is the size of the object, same is the size of the image. And the distance of the object from the mirror and the distance of the image from the mirror, they are same. These are the important characteristics of plane mirror. So, same size as the object, laterally inverted, upright, top remains top, and object distance and image distances are equal. See here, as I was telling you what is lateral inversion and what happens when ambulance is written, how ambulance is written differently. So, this is a plane mirror here. This is what we have written here, mirror. We have written here mirror, and let us say plane mirror is here. Then what we have written mirror, the image will appear like this. Everything is as it is. Object distance and image distance are same, but lateral inversion. This is how you see. If you are looking both at the object as well as its image in the plane mirror. So, the word which is written, the letters which are written here forming word mirror and their image, you will see it like this. And if you try to read it, immediately your mind will not register what is written here. So, after some time, because you are also looking at this, you will say, "Arey, this is mirror is written," but immediately you cannot register what is written. Same thing will happen if ambulance is written. The image formed will give you the impression of some other word which you cannot immediately register. So, what happens is that suppose this itself is written, this becomes the object, then what its mirror image will be? This mirror. So, this you can read properly, this you cannot read properly. So, that is how ambulance is written in front of the ambulances, so that when those drivers who was riding in front, when they see in the rear view mirror, actually ambulance is written in this form and they will see it in this form. So, this is about different types. What happens to the images? Image, if it is like this, it is called as upright image. Top remains top, head remains head. Laterally inverted, we have discussed it. Now, suppose a plane mirror is kept below this, then the image form will be something like this. This is called as vertically inverted. Tops become bottom and bottom becomes top. That is called as inverted vertically. And what is lateral inversion? Left becomes right and right becomes left. That is called as lateral inversion, whereas vertical inversion, top becomes. So, left to right and vice versa, lateral inversion, and this is called as vertical inversion or simply inverted image. These are the different types of images which we can get. Either this, generally in plane mirror, we see the image is not vertically inverted, but it is laterally inverted. So, in general, images which can be formed due to mirrors can be broadly classified like this. Two types of images are there, real and virtual. In plane mirror, the image formed by plane mirror is said to be virtual. Now, why? Because there is nothing inside the mirror. The image which you are seeing in the plane mirror does not exist. As soon as the object is removed from the front of the mirror, that image will vanish. It is not there. Therefore, but still you are seeing it. Hence, such an image is called as virtual image. So, the image given by plane mirror is virtual image. But other type of image is there which is real, which we will see later on. What about the size of the image which is formed by the plane mirror? Now, three different sizes can be there. Same size image can have same size, enlarged, greater size, or size which is reduced. Plane mirror gives image of same size. And what about the image upright? And it is laterally inverted. These are the characteristics of the image formed by the plane mirror. But in our day-to-day life, many times you may have seen, if you have gone to those mirror maze and those exhibitions where in many malls also mirror maze is there, in which when you go inside you will see different types of images, sometimes enlarged images formed, sometimes oblong images formed. So, not always you will see image which is virtual, image which is of same size, and image which is upright, and image which is laterally inverted. Many times in day-to-day life you will come across mirrors which are giving images which might be enlarged or which may be reduced, which may be inverted vertically or which may not be upright. So, that means what is the meaning of that? Those mirrors are not plane mirror, simple, because we know that if the image is virtual, same size and upright, then that mirror has to be plane mirror. But if we are getting different types of images, this means that the mirror is different. But all remember, whatever might be the characteristics of the image, enlarge, reduce, same size, real, virtual, laws of reflection are always followed. And then you have come across many situations wherein you see images on a screen, like picture we have taken, then in cinema halls, and in you have seen projectors on the wall and images are being formed on the wall on the screen. Now, these are also called as images because they are not actual objects. So, anything which is similar to the object, exact replica of the object, but not an object, that is called as image. And when the image is formed behind the mirror, that is virtual image, and when the image which is formed on the screen, that image is called as real image. In cinema halls, in projectors, television, whatever you are seeing are not actual objects, these are all impressions. These impressions of the object, exact replica of the object, exact reproduction of the object is called as image. So, whenever the image is obtained only on the screen, you will find many instances, particularly if you want to impress someone with magic, you can bring a mirror, and in some cases you will get the image and some cases you will not get the image. But if you have a screen ready nearby, then the image will be formed on the screen. Such an image is called as a real image. So, this, if you are going to study curved mirrors, that means you will get images which are different than plane mirror, but there also the laws of reflection will be followed as it is. The laws of reflection are followed as it is, again I am emphasizing. Now, this is a plane surface, which is a smooth plane surface, and this is a rough surface. Here you can see that what is here we can say that whenever the reflection is taking place of the plane smooth surface, then such a reflection is called as regular, and when the reflection takes place at uneven, rough, unpolished surface, that is called as diffuse reflection or irregular reflection. Basic difference is that, as you can see, this is a ray, all the rays are parallel and the reflected rays are also parallel. That means we can say that incident beam is a parallel beam and reflected beam is also parallel beam, and the laws of reflection are being followed here. And since they are parallel, the incident beam is parallel, the angle of incidences in all these cases, three cases will be same, I1 equal to I2 equal to I3. But in a rough irregular reflection, what is happening, even though the incident beam is parallel beam, all the incident rays will be making different angle of incidences because the surface is uneven. And then after applying the laws of reflection, you will find that the reflected rays are going in different direction. The reflected rays are going in different direction not arbitrarily, but because they follow laws of reflection. And here the reflected rays are going in one particular direction as a parallel beam, not arbitrarily, not an exception, or not just 1 out of a billion chance, but because they are following laws of reflection. So anywhere the reflection will take place, laws of reflection are always applied, and this we are going to carry forward to curved surfaces. That means we will have, if we want to study image formation due to curved surfaces, you will have to apply laws of reflection there also. Now we were saying that plane mirror characteristics, image characteristics, but in day to day life we may see images which are not conforming to the characteristics of plane mirror. These are few of the example, and these three cases we have used three different types of mirrors and we do not know. Once looking at them prima facie, it appears that all of them are plane mirror, and same objects, same set of props were kept in front of them, and in each of them you are getting different image for same objects, same set of objects, and all the three of them appear to be plane mirror. That is because that glass is not the mirror, glass is the protective covering, and that protective covering is plane. Inside what is there? Inside mirror is there, metallic strip. If that metallic strip is plane, then that mirror will be plane. Don't go by what shape that protective covering of glass is having. Inside there might be a curved metallic surface, or there might be plain metallic surface, or there might be parabolic metallic surface. That will determine the nature of the mirror. So here we are finding that in this case the image form is of same size, upright, virtual, and laterally inverted. In these two cases that is not the case. Although all the three images are virtual, that means only this is a plane mirror and these two are different mirrors. Which type of mirrors they might be, that is our interest here. Let us see more such examples. Here again this is a virtual image. So driver is here and is seeing ambulance, and as I was explaining to you about the lateral inversion, in the mirror image you can see that the driver can clearly read this as an ambulance, but image is laterally inverted, so it will be written differently on the ambulance. But here you can see the size of the image has been reduced. So this is not a plane mirror, because plane mirror gives same size image. Here again so many big objects are here, but all these have been encompassed in this image. This is not a plane mirror. That means this is not a plane. These two are not the plane mirrors. More cases we will see. Again prima facie all the three mirrors appear to be plane, but here we are getting inverted image. Here we are getting erect image, but it is enlarged, and here we are getting erect image which is less in size. So that means all the three of them are not plane mirror. All the three of them are not plane mirror, although they appear to be plane mirror. Judging by the characteristics of the image, we can definitely say that all of them are not the plane mirror. Here again these are the mirrors used by dentist, and when dentist use them to look at the teeth of the patient, then the teeth appears bigger in size. This again here image is bigger in size. So this we are entering into a new realm, new domain. We are leaving behind the plane mirror and we are entering into the new realm, curved mirrors. So please revise the concepts of reflection by applying them to plane mirror, because it's very simple to apply them to the plane mirror, but keeping in mind that you will have to apply them to curved surfaces. And here again important thing is that the mirrors are named according to the shape. Plane shape, plane mirror. Curved, if the structure is curved, it's called as curved mirror. So there will be big difference when you apply the laws of reflection to the plane surface and then to the curved surface. That interesting part we will see in the next class. Till then you keep revising and keep on thinking the practical applications of the mirrors, where you have found different types of images. Try to recollect. Have you visited any such places where you saw different types of images? Did at that time did you try to compare them with plane mirror? If not, now take plane mirror as a standard, as a benchmark, and try to compare them with different images which you saw. Till then, goodbye.